right, so here at the year-end Market Pulse edition with David Brownell. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
So I know you as the MLS guy because that's where I met you officially in the boardroom. Can you tell everybody who you are and where you work?
Oh, yeah. My name's David Brownell, and I've been a realtor in Las Vegas for 30 years. The company I work with is Real Broker, and it's been exciting. Over the 30 years, we've seen 2 or 3, maybe 4 different real estate markets kind of come and go. And so I've got a little track history to kind of look at what we're facing right now.
I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you. So you got me beat. I'm like 22 years. So here it is. I have an elder of sorts, not maybe in age, but in experience. So we're sitting here at the end of the year. We've typically done these where we wrap up the month, but you and I are going to look back on the year. We've talked a little bit throughout the year, a little bit together about what things are going, and I follow you on social media, so I know you chomp on the stats a lot. So a little bit about historical numbers, right? So it looks like this year we're going to sell in Las Vegas how many homes?
Well, right now, as we wrap up the year, it looks like we're going to come in right around 28,000, give or take.
Okay.
28,000 total sales. That's single family residences and condos combined. That's the total market.
So I chew on monthly numbers. When I look at our office results, I think about how many homes we sold in the month, how many agents got commission checks, and then how'd the market do? And I always want to see, how did we do? Did we outpace the market or underperform? In good months in years past, 5,000 units was a good number, right? So that would historically put you on, what is that, like
in a total year,
60,000 homes, right?
Yeah,
so think about it. So this is anorexic numbers. I think in December, we don't have the numbers yet, but I'm thinking we're going to sell like maybe less than 2,000 houses.
Definitely less than 2,000 units.
So this, if you look back, tell me about 2016, 17, some of those years where we didn't have that, juice, all that money piped in, just that regular 5-6% interest rates. How were those years?
Yeah. So, we started back in 2008 tracking the numbers. And in the middle of the recession, the Great Recession, we saw some years that we did cross 50,000 total sales in just the resale market. But from about 16 to 20, that's probably as we moved out of the recession and we kind of got back into what you call that pseudo-normal market where interest rates were kind of within a range par. Par. That's a good assessment. We were selling, I look back at 16, we were selling anywhere from 39 to 43,000 units in a given year. And this year we're going to sell 28,000.
We were talking about it before we got on air. Think about how many more people have moved into town and how many homes the builders have built. So there are so many more opportunities that didn't capitalize. So this market is so tight. What is holding this market back?
Oh yeah. It's really a lot of interesting variables that are creating a dynamic that I don't think is as easily to assess as some are trying to make it. And so you've got buyers that want to buy or that can't or won't, just given the interest rates and what that does to a monthly payment. You've got sellers locked in with low interest rates. You've got other sellers that are waiting for a certain price or a certain moment that allows them to be able to buy their next home. So we got a lot of people sitting on the sideline. So if rates were a little better, maybe we'd see numbers in the mid 30,000 sales for this year. But
that's only like 2,500 units per month. That's still not a huge bump.
Well, it's hard too. When you look back at some of these months in the early teens, we had as many as 15,000 units on the market, and we haven't had more than 10,000 units on the market in 10 years.
But I almost think it's a saving grace that we don't have more available homes with the appetite being so anorexic, because if you bump that from 10 to 15,000, now you're going to see prices deflate because everybody's going to have to drop. So the fact that the inventory is a little lower, it's kind of keeping the buyers and sellers at par.
There's no doubt. The structural housing shortage that started in 2009 when new home builders across the country basically stopped building, and they didn't build very many homes for 3 or 4 years through that, and as we came out of the recession, and we still have not met the demand for housing in any given year. We have not built enough homes to satisfy the new home buyers in a year. So that housing shortage has only gotten worse and worse and worse. And we're feeling that right now. That's the only thing that's keeping prices buoyed up, in my opinion, is that there just isn't enough in the supply to force sellers to make a move. They can hold tight because with only 10,000 units on the market and 2,000 to 2,500, maybe 3,000 here as we come into the new year, units a month, we're only talking 3 to 4 months of inventory. And just simple real estate economics or real estate analysis says maybe closer to 4 to 6 months, maybe closer to 6 months is a balanced market. So we still, in this slow time, don't have enough properties on the market to cause any traditional market reactions to what's going on.
I always like to do this with producing agents like yourself. So the agents that are out there that get to watch this, maybe they're not getting this in a sales meeting, or maybe their mentors aren't giving them this insight. So you're saying prices are higher because of the shortage of homes that have been built nationally, right? If there had been more homes built, there'd have been more homes to transact and prices would be lower. So if someone's lucky enough to have a home, it's a shortage of inventory that's actually propping prices up.
Oh, yes. That's what's keeping them up. Because, and that's what's keeping buyers off on the sidelines, is because if prices would come down 10%, the market would change dramatically.
I'm going to throw you a curveball.
I'm ready.
So people have been picking apart. There were some bills floating around about limiting institutional sales in Clark County, and there was some language where they were going to put a limit of 1,000 homes. I don't know if you know, but I wear many hats. But one hat I do in institutional sales,
Sure.
And so I always told people, when you hate them, you all hate the institutional buyers that locked up all the homes because they grabbed our sales right from us, and those homes don't transact. But when the bottom hit, they were here and they set the floor. When those houses were $100,000, they came in and swooped them up. When no one could get financing,
Sure.
no one had jobs to get loans, they saved us then. And now think, all those homes that are owned by those companies, I don't want to name them, but there's about 5 of them, and I think they own about 60 or 70,000 doors here in town. They will never sell again. If those were owned by mom and pops, they'd be turning every 3 to 5 years, and that would be driving prices lower. So as much as everybody hates institutional, it's kind of been a little bit of a buffer for us to kind of prop us up.
Second buffer. So not only are we not building enough homes from scratch, but the homes that were in supply have been turned into long-term rentals.
Lockdown.
And so they've been pulled out of the total supply of potential homes that a mom and pa could buy. And so, yeah, that's just contributed to that very structural housing shortage that doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon.
All right, so let's talk to the agents that have potential buyers that want to buy a home in Las Vegas. I always tell people that look to me for advice, and the agents bring their buyers in. They say, well, George owns a company. Knows all this. What do you think? I always say, if your job is secure and you're comfortable with your employment and you believe you can live in town for let's say 3 to 5 years, I'm bullish on buying. I always believe you should buy real estate. I'm bullish. If you're unsure on your income and your career and you don't know how long you're going to live, this market's a little bit flat. I don't know that I would jump in and jump out within 12 or 18 months.
Sure.
You agree?
I definitely agree. I think that everybody's got a story, and wherever you are in the real estate game, if you're a buyer, your story is that prices are coming down soon, and so are interest rates, and it's going to be great. If you're a seller, well, I'm just going to wait because next year interest rates are going to come down and my prices are going to go back up and I'm going to get my price. And everyone's got a story that's hinged first on interest rates and everything going their way. That's okay. We tend to be overly optimistic as humans, and we want the best things to come our way. But I think that if I were a buyer, and just that, if I thought that this was going to be a quick flip, or I was only going to be around maybe for 12 months to a couple years, I might pause and think about renting, even though renting is just for many a waste of money. But if I were going to be in the property for a while, and even if I couldn't get exactly what I want, many buyers are downsizing or settling for a smaller home because they want to get into ownership versus renting. But there's a lot of creative things that you can do today that were being suggested 2 and 3 and 4 years ago, maybe a little prematurely, and that probably has scared some folks away. But things like adjustable rate mortgages, things like rate buy downs with seller contribution to rate buy downs, interest only. There's a lot of different ways that you can get in what you want. And again, over time, real estate tends to go up in value, and it's one of the biggest wealth accumulators that we know of.
Cracks me up. As real estate agents, we wear a hat this way that says buyer's agent hat, and we're like, great time to buy, lots of homes for sale. Sellers are offering concessions. They're paying our fees, lots to choose from. Let's go shop. And then we flip the hat around and we go to see the seller and we go, you know what? There's a lot of inventory. We need to price our home aggressively. Like, we better get this sold before like it gets worse. It's funny how like the same lens almost can have alter views, but in the end, it's the same market.
It is what it is. And I mean, hey, shelter is a necessity. There's not a lot of folks out there choosing to not have a roof at night. And so it's something that's got to happen. It isn't, hey, well, we're going to wait and we're not going to buy until this. At some point, you just have to have a place to live, and it's an expense. And so people figure it out, and it's worked out over time for most.
Curious about this. So by the way, you're a bright guy when it comes to real estate, and you articulate it well. Did you see the median price jumped? It hit like north of, I think, 488.
Yeah.
So we were like 485. So that ran up. My guess, curious if you're in alignment, is buyers are offering list price or near list price, but they're asking for a lot on the back end. So the net in pocket is probably dropped. It's costing more to sell for sellers, paying fees, paying buy downs, fixing stuff, but the top line number is pretty juicy, but they're less, the seller's getting less in their pocket.
Yeah. So last month was an anomaly, I'm going to say. It was an exception to what is really going on. Our numbers, I track the numbers every month. I eliminate some of what the LVR keeps in their numbers. I squeeze out Laughlin and Pahrump and Mesquite, and I try to just keep it in the valley. So my data is a smaller pool than the associations, and so I don't get some of those outlying areas. The median sales price for a single-family residence in November for our research came in at $493,000. The prior month it was $475 or $480s. So it jumped $15,000 to $20,000 in a single month. That's been unheard of over the course of the last 2.5 years. We've seen adjustments in the 1 or 2,000, maybe 5 one month, and they've been bouncing around that, staying kind of at a flat mark around that 475 to 480 for some time. Now, this last month, I'm going to say, hey, when you only have 1,800 total units and maybe that close and only 1,500 of them are houses, and your sample starts to shrink a little, you get a little bit of skew in that data. And so maybe it is just a not real good piece of data to bank on that. Oh, look, prices went up 15,000. Because I have looked forward, and I think when this month closes out in December, what we're going to see is we're going to end the year in that lower 480s number, not in the higher 480s or 490s. We're pretty much going to end the year about where we started.
I'm going to comment on this video in January when we get those numbers, and we're going to see where it's at. Because my guess is this: tale of two markets. The working Las Vegans that are grinding it out, that are trying to buy their entry-level home, are struggling. Shifts are down on the strip. They're getting less money. The tourism's down. They're struggling. But the wealthy are driving that high price high. So that sub 400 home, the bread and butter, 1,600 footer, 1,200 footer, maybe in the outlying areas, they're struggling to buy those. So that market's contracting a tad, but yet 7 figures go the new builds. 1.2, 1.4 for they were starter home builders 10 years ago. So I think it's that high price that's basically driving that median up.
The pool of buyers, the low end, has been squeezed a little tighter because of the economic uncertainty, because of the changes in the economic climate and landscape. And so that the buyers that are in the market right now just generally are higher priced buyers. And that's what's causing that price to elevate a little bit.
If rates were lower, that lower market would transact better, because a $400,000 home is like $3,500 a month. It's a lot for a young family.
No, I agree.
It's a lot. But the millionaires can go ahead and, pull from assets. They have creative financing. They have a lot of different tools that they can lean on that the little families can't.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, the tale of multiple markets is what's really going on. You can't look at the real estate market anymore as just the market, even in your local city, because what's happening in the under $500,000 buyer's life is a little bit different than what's happening in the $1 million to $1.5 million and up dollar buyer's
100%.
life. And so, with inflation and prices and just job uncertainty, The lower end is getting, I mean, fewer dollars to get pinched. And when you pinch them, that really hurts. And so I agree. I think that it's also hurting the local buyer too, though. It isn't just the lower income earner or that lower price point searcher. It's been in migration from out of the area, from California, Southern California, from Northern California, from Washington, from Utah and Arizona, Texas. Those are the people moving here that are keeping this market afloat. The local buyer, I mean, what is it? Like 70% of median income earners in households in this valley couldn't afford the median priced home.
It's true.
That's single individual income, not household. Household, we're a little bit better off, but still, when only half of your population can afford the average priced home in a market, that doesn't bode well for the future. It's the people moving in that are coming from higher priced markets with bigger priced sales, with more equity.
Down payments.
Bigger down payments. And they're seeing that 3,000 square foot house for $1.1 million looks pretty good compared to their market where it's $1.9 million. And so they feel the value too.
Yeah, that's hurting the local. So I always tell our agents and agents that I mentor, like, the market is the market. You have to work where you are in today's market. You can't bah humbug. You can't pour me. You got to make the best of the market that you're in today, right? There are folks that say, well, next year is going to be better, right? They're banking on next year. I'm personally not thinking initially. I don't see anything on the horizon that changes our environment. Come January, all I'm going to see is more houses come on the market. Historically, sellers don't list their homes in the holiday time for whatever reason. They don't want people when their holiday decor is up or they're traveling. And I think some of it's agents, they're checked out. So sellers are taking a little vacation. The agents are checked out for the holidays. January, here we go. You're going to see inventory grow, and we're probably going to have the same appetite. So my guess is you're just going to see more inventory and about the same sales. Maybe January you'll see 2,300, 2,400. Do you think we have a good spring? You think April or May we ever hit 3,000?
I think we'll hit 3,000, maybe for a couple of those months. If we look back at 2025, which was one of the worst high seasons on record since we've been tracking.
It was.
I think everyone expected high season to be the salvation. We came out of the election. The rates were a little bit better as we ended the year. We thought rates would be better as we rolled into 2025. And high season came and it was flat, and it was a dud, way down compared to prior years. And then interest rates bumped back up, and that then added on top of it. Everyone is, again, overly optimistic. Everyone wants rates to be better when the year turns. Everyone wants it to be good to bring their house on the market if they haven't had on the market or took it off the market. But I don't see a lot changing. I think supply will grow some. I think we'll see some demand go up just because of the seasonality. But I don't think it'll get close to I think it'll be a similar high season to last year.
Yeah. So like maybe 2,500 into like maybe March, maybe at 3,000, April, May.
Yeah.
And then you get that summer lull. People are checked out, traveling again. It's hot, excuses. So what? 30,000 homes?
We're probably, I mean, my guess, and it's just kind of a guess, I don't think anyone has a real basis to know how much at this point the market might increase in velocity, but I'm guessing around 5 to 10% in Las Vegas would be my guess for how much the sales go up. So if we're at 28,000 sales this year, 5% is 1,400 more, so 29.4, 10%'s 28, we're at 31,000.
I got you, maybe
so
32.
We're at, it's still, 2026, even if it goes up 5 to 10%, it's still going to play out as one of the disheartening years over the last 10.
All right, last one. Your crystal ball on values. We think we know where units are. If units stay lower, it could bode well for values again, because more units could mean more folks put their house on the market and it can actually drive sales down. So I would have never believed that as a young realtor. I think more sales, more action, higher price. Yeah. But I think as sales are a little lower, it's probably propping prices up. NAR came out and said like a 14% bump next year nationally. That seems to be glass half full.
No other leading national expert or prognosticator is anywhere close to the NAR numbers. Lawrence Young came out and said he thought sales would be up 14% next year, and most of the other reports are in the 2 to 4% range.
Is it
on a national level?
When you're on that side of the field, you just want to be bullish? I mean, is it our innate nature to just, as realtors, be like, it's going to be better, and we just extract data, or should we call it what it is?
I think it's everyone. It's a property that comes to mind is a custom home over in the Buffalo Okie area. And I had a gentleman come see the house recently, and he wanted to wait, and he was going to make his offer maybe at the start of next year because he wanted me to be in the seller to get aware of how much home prices were about to go down. And he was in finance, and he thought probably this gentleman would have to sell his house for upwards of $500,000 less. And the very next day, I had a conversation with the seller, and he said, hey, if no one comes, I'm taking my house off the market on Sunday, the 21st, and we'll bring it back in February, because that's when prices will start going up again.
Two opposite
so
views.
Here's the same property, two intelligent business executives, one in finance, and they have 180-degree different views about the very same property and what's going to happen in the market. It's not just realtors. It's just human nature, I think.
That's the beauty about the transaction. You have to have a seller and a buyer aligned on terms for the same property. And so that's ultimately what works. There has to be a seller and a buyer who agree. And I always tie this in. That's why you always want to work with a realtor if you're a consumer out there, right? Hire a realtor, because our job is to get both parties to meet in the middle and negotiate for each side.
And in 2025, with the internet and the amount of content that's being generated every day, too many non-experts have stepped into the role of, quote, expert. Not real estate professionals. I'm talking about the layperson. Whether it's your Uncle Jim or your father or your grandpa or your best friend or whoever, or your CPA, everyone's got an opinion now on what's going on in real estate, and they think they got a handle on it. And so it's difficult. There's a lot of things flying around.
All right. We're wrapping up the year. This was an amazing Market Pulse with David Brownell. We're going to come back in January and comment on this one and see if we cracked 2,000 in December and where our year-end numbers worked out. Thank you, David, for coming.
Hey, thank you. It's been great. I had a good time.